Assalamu'alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Putra Nurmawan. I'm from Madrasah Aliyah Negeri 11 Jakarta, Selatan, and I'm here to tell a story about the Caliphate of Islam. Let's enjoy. The blue sky stands upon the vast land of sands. In the crowded holy city, the people of Medina shedded tears as they saw the most beloved man lying on his deathbed. The man was our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, suffering from an illness that calls upon the angels of death. Muhammad worried nothing about himself. He was worried more about how his people, his ummah, would be without him. So he called out his ummah and stated that there is no other God besides Allah as he took his last breath. The last prophet of Islam, the final prophet of Islam was gone, leaving perfection to the religion. Every community needs a leader. Although their leaders, every community needs a leader. Although their greatest leaders had gone, history shall not end. It was continued by his four closest friends, Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman, and Ali. Together they established the first Islamic state, the Caliphate of Islam. Shortly after that of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Ummah rose to question, who will be the next leader? Abu Bakr, a close friend of Muhammad, heard that the people of Medina was holding an election to choose the next leader. Abu Bakr then crashed the meeting and pleaded for one person to moderate discussions. He pointed to two companions of Muhammad, which is Umar and Ali. When Ali heard that, Ali came forth to him and argued with him that Abu Bakr should be the next leader. The decision was set. Abu Bakr has finally become the next leader, or they call it as the first Caliph. The announcement was spread among the Ummah, but not everybody knew about it. Ali did not even hear about the election is happening. When he finally knew about it, he felt neglected. He thought he was the closest to Muhammad. He thought he was the next successor. He is the true successor of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam by many reasons. The disagreement between Abu Bakr and Ali eventually turned into two different sects of Islam, the Sunni and the Shia. It took days or months for Ali to finally acknowledge the election, but many tribes of Al-Arabiya seceded from the allegiance of Abu Bakr and went their own ways. Abu Bakr solved this problem by establishing a new doctrine that supports the idea one God means only one embodiment of Islam, which is the Ummah. So everybody that gone astray from the Ummah is a betrayal. This concept turned Islam not just a religious belief, but also a social political system. Within a year, the secessionists had been crushed by Abu Bakr. The Caliph once more took control of the land of Arabia and ended the first Islamic civil war, known as the Rida War. One day, Abu Bakr felt high fever. He knew that death was calling him. The death was near. He was about to die. So he called out the council and nominated Umar to be his successor, the next Caliph. Umar was a close friend of Muhammad, and he was known to be a fierce military commander whose appearance intimidated people around him. But finally, the council decided to elect Umar as the new caliph. And soon after that, Umar turned towards the military campaign. And it's time. Now it's time for war and conquest. Some nations attempted to strike down the caliphate. Of course, they failed. Duh. But they just kept coming. So Umar thought to himself, the only way to win is to invade the nation as a whole on a large scale. But it was not Islamic. It was not allowed. So Umar had to think a way to justify this action. And he came up with the concept of war in the path of Allah, which is jihad. Every nation that seceded from the Holy Realm was considered as wrong. So finally, Umar had the justified reasons to conquer lands. The reign of Umar was filled with discoveries and adventures. Umar conquered many lands, including the nation that opposed the caliphate before. He took control over tons of cities, including Jerusalem, one of the most sacred cities of all. He wanted peace with the people there, which were non-Muslims. And finally, for the first time, Muslims and non-Muslims lived among each other. Wow. Sadly, one day, Umar was assassinated by perhaps a man from a nation that was conquered by him. Umar was called by the angel of death as he took his last breath. The Ummah mourned his death. They had to choose the next Caliph. It's either Usman or Ali. So they asked them both a question. If you became the Caliph, will you be guided by the Quran, the Sunnah, and the precedent of Abu Bakr and Umar? I shall act according to the Quran, the Sunnah, but as for the precedent of Abu Bakr and Umar, I have my own conscience to consult, said Ali. As for Usman, he said, I do not intend to be an innovator. My role as a Caliph is only to follow what has been laid down. From that, the council decided that Usman will be the next Caliph. Usman is a wealthy man, born from a wealthy family. In his time as the new Caliph, he supported the Ummah in finance. Unlike Umar, filled with conquest, Usman had to take care of the dull affairs of the caliphate, collecting taxes, setting salaries, and repairing bridges. But it was indeed what he knew best. And soon the land of Arabia filled with constructed buildings. Usman the builder. One day, a suspicious man was spotted in the land of Egypt. The Egyptians noticed him and knew that he was a servant of Usman, carrying a letter. When they saw it unfold, they were shocked. The letter said that all the Egyptian delegations should be executed. An angry Egyptian mob was approaching Medina as they complained about this misunderstanding. They demanded Usman's explanation. But the more they wait, the more chaotic they become. Usman then left the crowd and hid in his private room and started praying. But unfortunately, the door was knocked down by the angry mob, beating Usman to the death. A Muslim beating another Muslim to death. The rebellion was still happening. The council begged Ali to take the position as Khalif. Ali had no other choices but to accept the position. He faced an enormous problem the first time he took the title as Khalif. His first mission is to end this whole madness and bring justice. But in the other side, some seek vengeance from the death of Usman. And that is from Muawiyah, a cousin of Usman from the Umayyad family, which is the Usman family. The Umayyad were a big deal actually. They governed parts of Arabia. Ali prioritized cooling down the crowd before solving the death of Usman. Hearing that, Muawiyah could not accept it. He embraced an army as well as Ali with his supporters, the Shia. A war broke out between these two for a long time, but they ended up having a truce. Ali and Muawiyah didn't want any more victims from the war. They both agreed Ali still held the position as Khalif, as well as he became the first Imam to the Shia. But some groups of the Shia didn't accept the truce. They departed themselves and made their own community, called the Khawarij. After a long time, the Khawarij grew in numbers, spreading all across the land of Arabia. Many people died because of their behavior, and sadly one day Ali became one of their victims. He died leaving two sons that will not take the title Khalif, but instead they will take the title as Imam to the Shia. And that's for just another story. Thus, the story of Calliphate of Islam has ended here. Thank you for listening. Wassalamu'alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.